The sun may have set, but the search is still on at this dark hour for two missing firefighters. The pair have been missing in the sea for just about 84 hours.
But for the first time in 3 days, a glimmer of hope. The men could still be found. A tackle bag belonging to one of the firefighters was recovered 50 nautical miles off the shore of St. Augustine. Good evening. I'm Jeannie Blaylock. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
And I'm Anthony Austin. So this is what we know at this hour. Those firefighters and those crews racing up against the clock to find these two firefighters who are their whereabouts practically unknown at this hour. Our Heather Crawford is down in Port Canaveral right now covering the very latest for us. She joins us now with more. Heather.
Anthony, this is still very much an active search and rescue mission here on day 3. Tonight, the Coast Guard is continuing to search for those two missing firefighters. Now, here in Port Canaveral this evening, it is relatively quiet, but it was anything but that earlier today as dozens of people volunteered to go out in boats on the water behind me and search for Brian McCluney and Justin Walker. The best friends were last seen here at this boat ramp around 11 o'clock Friday morning as they were putting their boat into the water here. Now, my colleague Jessica Clark has been in Port Canaveral all day long, talking to family members, talking to firefighters, and she has more now on the latest developments today and why search crews say they feel now like they have a better idea of where to look for the missing firefighters.
Well, the search has stretched from this boat ramp in Port Canaveral, right next to where the cruise ships come in and out, all the way up along the eastern coastline.
We're going to find these guys, and it's just a matter. We finally started zeroing in a little bit today, and we're going to find them. Absolutely, it's a rescue mission.
Jacksonville firefighter Brian McCluney and his friend Justin Walker, a firefighter from Fairfax, Virginia, left this boat ramp in Port Canaveral late Friday morning for a day of fishing. They haven't been seen since. Professional search crews and many volunteers with boats have scoured more than 46,000 square miles of ocean. Finally, Monday, a clue. A tackle bag that McCluney's wife identified as his was discovered 50 nautical miles off the coast of St. Augustine.
This bag was found by a civilian searcher who came into our area to assist.
Jacksonville Fire Chief Keith Powers says the plan is to now saturate that area 50 nautical miles off St. Augustine.
We've got real good conditions. It's clear offshore. You can see a long ways, so we're blessed with good conditions right now.
Good conditions for what is still a rescue mission for two men whose firefighting and military training are expected to help them survive until they're found.
The Jacksonville Fire Chief says that there will be crews working tonight, but things will really ramp up Tuesday right around that area where the tackle bag was located off of St. Augustine's coast. In Port Canaveral, Jessica Clark, First Coast News, back to you.
Jess, thank you so much. And so many people pitching in to help search for these missing firefighters, and also a lot of people in our community coming together to help support their families. First Coast News' Cameron Eppinger is on your side. He's live tonight in Ponte Vedra, where there was a prayer vigil there this evening.
Yeah, Heather, we're talking more than a dozen people gathering here at Michler's Landing earlier this evening. They came together to pray. They read scriptures from the Bible, and they also took time out to walk the shoreline, searching for any signs or debris that could be linked to Brian and Justin.
And we're still positive about everything. I mean, we're going to be able to find them.
As the search continues at sea for the two firefighters, Brian McCluney and Justin Walker, along the shoreline, prayers are being sent up for their safe return.
We have faith that they can be saved and that they will be found and returned safely to their families.
Monday evening, more than a dozen gathered at Michler's Landing to pray for those searching and to pray for Stephanie McCluney, Brian McCluney's wife.
She's so authentic, so real, and just has such a giggly personality. Like, she's just so fun to be around. And really what we want to do is just support her in prayer.
Those who know her best describe her courage and relentless faith.
Stephanie is rock solid. Her faith is sound, and I think she has great reason to have faith. So many are praying for Brian and Justin, and I believe that those prayers will be answered.
While others shared how she served as an inspiration.
She is strong and faithful, and it's a reminder to me that my son is a fireman and anything can happen, but I have to always be strong and faithful.
And as Stephanie continues to hold on to hope, the community here wants her to know she has their support.
Your family's going to be whole again, and they're going to be, together. Everybody's going to be here and supporting and praying.
And organizers also wanted us to spread the message that you can still help out with the search by donating monetary donations simply by visiting jfrd.com. We're live in Ponte Vedra tonight. Camera Leppinger, First Coast News on your side. Heather?
Cam, thanks so much. And I had a chance to talk to Brian's wife today, Stephanie. Her faith is just unwavering. It is rock solid. I spoke to her and to Brian's brother, Kevin. They've been out here all day long. They were here by the boat ramp waiting for any sign of their loved one, any sign of where he may be. And they told me tonight that they are more hopeful than ever because of that tackle bag of Brian's that was found earlier today about 50 miles off the coast of St. Augustine. Tell me about the tackle box. You were the one who identified that it was in fact your husband's.
Yes, we got a message from the Coast Guard. Please identify this. What might he have in it? He strategically took out heavy items. There were no pliers. There was no heavy tackle, no weights in it. He only had things that he knew we could identify. We could definitely identify the bag. It was his father's. So it's a huge deal. It was in perfect condition. No signs of distress.
And so they were actually going out in his father's boat. His father had recently passed away, and this was kind of like a last ride out on the water to go fishing. Kevin, your brother knows these waters so well. He grew up in this area, avid fisherman, and I've heard him described as a superhero. Your Iron Man. He's a combat war veteran. If anybody has the survival skills to survive, it's these two guys, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, they've got the best training in the world, and two of the best people in the world looking out for each other. You can't ask for more than that. Plus, all the heroes looking for other heroes in the water right now.
Now, Stephanie told me the hardest part through this whole ordeal is the questions her kids are asking. They're just 6 and 8 years old, and they keep asking, why is it taking so long to find Daddy? And she told me tonight that she just keeps telling them that the ocean is big, but the God they serve is bigger, and that he will lead them to their dad. And she is confident that he will be found safe and that he will return home to them. Now, the other firefighter on the boat is a firefighter by the name of Justin Walker. He's from Fairfax, Virginia, and he and Brian are best friends. Now, this evening, we had a chance to talk to his wife, who says she believes that there was some type of mechanical issue on that boat, but she says her husband and his friend definitely have the survival skills to make it out there on the water.
I think him and Brian are the most compassionate people, and I think that's really what's brought all these people to feel they have, they need to do something because they know that these guys would do the same for them.
So as crews continue to be out there on the water, the Coast Guard is asking anyone who is out there to keep your eyes open for any signs of the boat, of the men, of any debris at all that could be connected to them. On your sides, Kaylee Tracy continues our team coverage now with more on the search from the water.
As crews continue to search for the missing boaters, the Coast Guard asked any boater out on the water to keep a sharp eye out for any debris or anything that could be related to the firefighters.
Coast Guard received a report of the overdue 24-foot white Robalo with a black T-top with 2 people on board, Brian McCluney and Justin Walker. All vessels are requested to keep a sharp lookout, assist if possible, in the port all signs to the Coast Guard. Signed, Commander, United States Coast Guard, Jacksonville, Florida. Break. This is Coast Guard, Jacksonville, Florida. Out.
Boaters answered that call.
Because I'm there and I was out about a mile, I would look around and pay attention.
Paying attention for anything related to the 2 missing fishermen, firefighters, and friends.
I've got you covered here. I've got you covered there. Local fishermen, boaters, captains, aircraft. I cannot say the outpouring coming from so many angles.
It was one of those civilian boaters who found Jacksonville firefighter Brian McCluney's tackle bag Monday, 50 miles off the coast of St. Augustine. Freedom Boat Club took us out on the water today, telling us the path the firefighters may have traveled on their way to a popular fishing area.
But you have to go around this reef, so it's probably 28, 30 miles.
Now there's another call out to boaters. Jacksonville Fire and Rescue asking for volunteers to help search closer to where that tackle bag was found.
It's a big ocean. God is bigger than the ocean. God controls the ocean. We just He's going to lead us there. We just have to give it a little bit longer.
Volunteers helping in the search to bring fellow boaters these heroes home. Kaylee Tracy, First Coast News, on your side.
So if you have a boat and you would like to help in the search tomorrow, they are asking you to meet at the Mayport boat ramp at 7 a.m. That is where they're going to give everybody assignments on where to go to search for these firefighters. Now, this is a look at where they've been coordinating the search efforts with the Coast Guard. While they're asking for civilian help with the search, they do want to make sure that any boater who volunteers has a boat and equipment that allows them to search safely offshore, because you may be sent 60 miles or more off the coast. Now today we know at least a dozen of McCluney's fellow firefighters at Jacksonville Fire Rescue joined in on the search.
I mean, this department always amazes me with the way they help people. It's truly amazing, and you know, the family is, you know, they're humbled, but you can also tell that they're, you know, worried, and you know, hopefully we can have a good outcome for them.
Now, search organizers are hoping that they have enough volunteers turn out tomorrow that they can cover all of St. Johns County and north to Fernandina Beach. And McCluney's family is just grateful for the outpouring of support. They've gotten support from the First Coast, from across Florida, from as far away as Germany. They're getting emails telling them that people are praying for them. And you know, a lot of people telling us that they just felt compelled to help, that it was the right thing to do. In fact, the general manager, Morningstar Marina, says he stayed open late on Sunday to help refuel the Coast Guard ship. 1,500 gallons going into tanks for today's search. We know that 30 boats were involved, with more than 130 volunteers who left the Mayport boat ramp this morning, many of them out there on the water for 10 hours, feeling called to help search for the first responders who don't think twice about helping others.
The first responders are the anchor of any community. They're there because they want to serve. They're there to go ahead and help those who are in need. And this is a small way for us to contribute back.
So he says if he's asked to help the Coast Guard again, he definitely will. Now, you may be wondering why the need for all the volunteers. Well, when you talk about this search, it is a massive, expansive effort, an area. And so trying to find this boat in the entire Atlantic Ocean is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. And tonight, meteorologist Lauren Roundkrantz explains the impact that the Gulf Stream could have on the search efforts.
The Gulf Stream is a restless beast. It's constantly changing in size, temperature, location every decade, every year, even every hour. It's a strong ocean current that pulls those warm Gulf of Mexico waters up the east coast of the U.S. and up towards Canada. Now, we do have some really great tools that help us precisely define the Gulf Stream, including satellites. This picks out the sea surface temperature across the Atlantic, and you can see the Gulf Stream there in those bright pink colors. On average, the Gulf Stream moves to the north at about 4 miles per hour. Now, if you add in a southerly wind, that can actually help push you 10 miles an hour if you're just floating gradually up to the north. Now, the wind can become dangerous on the Gulf Stream if it goes in the opposite of that current, because it can increase those waves and even cause those waves to break. Now, speaking of wind, we get strong winds and thunderstorms, and those warm Gulf waters actually help produce some thunderstorms from time to time. So the weather can become dangerous pretty quickly across the Gulf Stream, so conditions have to be ideal if you're heading out that far. About 30 miles off Port Canaveral, about 80 to 90 miles off of Jacksonville. Another thing to note is because of that current naturally flowing to the north, if you are traveling due east, you have to take into account that current, because every hour you could be moving to the north about 2 to 2.5 miles without even realizing it. In the studio, I'm meteorologist Lauren Roundkrantz, First Coast News, on your side.
Lauren, thank you. So if you're interested in helping, but you can't physically take part in the search tomorrow, JFRD has set up a donation page where you can make a monetary donation to help with the cost of the search. And we've posted a link to that page on our website, firstcoastnews.com. While you're there, you will also see a live blog. That is where we are updating you, and we'll continue to update you overnight with any new developments in the search to find these missing firefighters. And of course, be sure to tune in tomorrow to Good Morning Jacksonville at 4:30 a.m. We will have live coverage again from all across the area as the search is on to find the 2 missing firefighters who have now been missing for 3 days. The Coast Guard at this hour is continuing to search for them. And they're asking anybody, any boater who can help tomorrow to be at the Mayport boat ramp at 7 a.m. And I can tell you, talking to everyone out here today, there's a sense of optimism and a sense of hope that these 2 missing firefighters will be found safe. Live tonight in Port Canaveral, Heather Crawford, First Coast News, on your side.
Heather, thank you for all that information. What really gets me is to hear the kids' questions, like, why is it taking so long to find Daddy?